Hey, Mr. Pond Boss, tell me what to do.
You like that song?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look forward to it every Wednesday.
Looky there. Holy cow, here we go, live, Facebook Live. The Pond Boss is checking in with Jacob West. Jacob doesn't miss a show. What's the matter with you?
I need more vices in my life.
So you always, you like to tune into this Facebook Live stuff and see what the Pond Boss has got going on. And welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. Looks like we got 7 viewers already. See that number up there, Jacob?
I do.
Oh, now we got up to 6.
That was my wife. She tuned out.
Yeah. So, hey, you guys know the drill. I didn't bring a hat. I don't have a magazine, but here's what you need to do. Click like, hashtag Pond Boss Magazine, and share this to your Facebook page timeline. We're trying to build an audience, and we want people to be involved in that, and we want you to be involved in that. We're hanging out. Where are we?
We are at Kingfisher Society, Richmond Mills Lake.
Oh, my gosh, in North Cackalack. Going to be a big time. We've actually been electrofishing late yesterday afternoon, and today I see Jason Nipstad checking in. Jason lives down the road in Fayetteville. We're going to go over there and help him with his lake tomorrow while you guys are out catching giant bluegills. Yeah, hey, honey, my wife is here. Bring that over here. I gotta get you. Pond Boss Magazine right here. Look at that. Pond Boss. Oh, boy, the light's kind of goofy. Let me back it up. There it is. Pond Boss. $35 a year. You know, I take my wife out almost every Friday night, and we spend $40. That's gone the next day, going out to eat. This $35 subscription lasts you a full year. You know what, Jacob, I'm so glad you're here. You're from Denison, Texas.
Yes, sir.
You and your family are in the car wash business.
Yes, sir.
And so, what do you do? Tell me how's the car wash business work?
So my father started the company in '76, and
He's not that old. I'm looking at him.
And what we do is sell and distribute car wash equipment. So
Okay.
chemicals, service, equipment, anything from self-serves up to tunnels that pull your vehicle through. So we do it. If it sprays and cleans the car, we do it.
Oh, listen to that. I got to turn the dadgum thing down. So if it has anything to do with the car wash, you do that.
That's it.
I love it. That's great. Look at that. Mike Wiggins is saying hello to you. Who's Mike Wiggins?
Hey, Mike. He's actually our chemical manager.
Oh, so he's part of the family.
He's
part of the
definitely
business
part
family.
of the family.
You know what's pretty cool here is back at the Pond Boss Conference a year ago, or so, a little over a year ago, we had an auction, and we were trying to raise some money to actually help Hurricane Harvey victims because we had the conference in the Houston area. So what we did was we auctioned off trips. Well, I say trips. We auctioned off one trip to the Pond Boss, to the Kingfisher Society, and Kenny and Melanie Backus bought it, but they were bidding against a couple other guys. So after the auction, I came and talked to them and said, hey, would you match and raise their offer? And they said, well, sure we would. So just to kind of give ourselves and give these guys a pat on the back, we were able to raise over $10,000 and donated that to a church in Houston, you know, to help Hurricane Harvey victims. It was really, really cool. And so now we get to spend time together, fellowship, try to catch some giant bluegills, a few bass, hanging out at Richmond Mill Pond, Kingfisher. And you're not jacked up about that, are you?
Oh, I'm just stoked.
You're stoked. I love that word. And you know what's pretty fun is your dad and your brother and you and your whole family, you guys are building a lake in North Texas.
We are.
About 45 or 50 miles west of where we live. Uh-huh. So I think it'd be kind of interesting for folks to hear about what you're doing.
Well, we started this project about 5 years ago, it's sad to say. But we're trying to do it ourselves and seek counsel from people such as yourself and Mike Otto. And we're building about a 13-acre lake.
Okay.
And
but you're doing it yourself.
We are.
Okay. So you kind of got to work that around your work schedules with your equipment. You know, when you're not installing car washes or selling car wash equipment. How do people get in touch with you to buy a car wash?
If you Google car wash equipment in Texas, you will find us.
Oh, honey, you want a car wash? Okay.
I got the contract right here. Just
hey. Down payment. Yeah. Look at there. Thomas Willis is checking in from Laurinburg. He's here. There's a whole lot of Willises in Laurinburg. We got Jason Nepstad said hi to him. Bill Russell. Hey, Bill, good to see you, man. Frank James checking in from the Shreveport and Houghton, Louisiana area. Mike Cottrell, Matt Singley. Leanne says, hey, Jacob.
Hey, Leanne. It's nice to meet you.
Dude, you got a fan base already. You didn't even know it.
I'm working on it. I'm trying.
That's good. John Funk checking in from frigid mid-Michigan. Well, you guys like hard water there. Robert Geese and Daniel Powell. Daniel Powell's checking in. He lives right around here too. You've seen Daniel Powell checking in. You know, he helps with a lake that's probably not even 7 or 8 miles from right here. You know, and he's trying to help figure that out. Tori Rhodes checking in from Tennessee. So when you guys are trying to design your own lake and build it, what are some of the pitfalls and the pratfalls? I mean, what are the issues other than time to do it?
A million questions.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And wishing you had an expert there every time you got a question.
Okay,
but
so
we fumble our way through it and figure it out. And well, watching this weekly broadcast has helped a lot.
Okay.
For instance, we had an area that was about probably 3 acres in the pond. We knew was going to be 2 foot, 1 foot deep. And we decided to push all that up towards the middle of the pond, and we have about a 1 acre island now.
Okay. So the dilemma there was you went in and you delineated where the shoreline is going to be. So did you guys flag that?
We did.
Okay, so you put surveyor's flags or stakes, so you can kind of see where your shoreline is going to be. So then you could see the shape of the lake, and when you did that, you saw, well, gosh, we're going to be flooding these trees over here, and we're going to have a whole lot of shallow water over here.
Exactly.
So that could help you figure out what to do with your game plan.
Correct.
So what's the matter with shallow water?
It's just going to be vegetation and growing plants, and at some point it's going to be so dense that it's useless.
So you can't fish shallow water, and it's going to get overgrown with aquatic plants. So what you chose to do was go in, but I'm just talking to your dad, Bobby, over here, who's filming us, filming you, filming us. And we were talking about all that, and he didn't really want to dig that dirt, put it in the dump truck or a scraper and haul it somewhere else because it just cost more money than necessary. So in order to get the depth you wanted, you built an island.
Correct.
So now you can have geese nesting on your island.
That's can be a problem in and of itself. Thank you for bringing that up right now. Now that the island's done.
A little debated question. Well, if you'll build a bridge, the raccoons can eat goose eggs.
There you go.
Look at there. Dion Myers is checking. Elmo Liner, Jim Liner checking in from Ray Scott's place over in Montgomery, Alabama.
Nice.
Man, that's pretty cool. Fred Bingaman checking in from Brownstown, Illinois. We got an audience going on tonight. Look at that. You got a whole bunch of people looking at you right there. You got 1 million people looking at you. No, wait, there's 28. No, but you know what's pretty cool about this, though? We really don't know how many people are watching because only the ones that want us to see let us know, like Christy Hartzell, Leanne's sister. You know, so now, so what you have figured out is this is kind of a step-by-step process. So what you had to do is figure out how big the watershed was.
Right.
And then that helps you decide how big of a dam to build, right?
Right.
And then you started moving dirt around, but you had to figure out really that you got 2 jobs. Job 1 is you got to build a dam that can impound the water appropriately,
right,
and then release excess water and not blow the dam out.
That was one of the things that Mike Otto helped us with is we've got an abundant amount of watershed going into this 13-acre pond.
Okay.
It's about 1,200 acres. So we have
1,200 acres, and lake's gonna be 13 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! So you gotta have a big spillway.
Of water to get rid
you gotta
of.
have a big spillway. Who's Pamela Sims?
That is actually my mother-in-law.
Oh, mother-in-law! Checking Jacob out on the Facebook Live.
I'm being Facebook stalked.
Josh Counts is checking in. Okay, so now you guys have got the dam pretty well built. So now you're working on. So you really had 2 jobs. You had to build a dam that could impound the water and release excess water in an orderly fashion.
Correct.
Right on a 1,200 acre watershed or bigger. So you got a lot of water. When it rains, now where you are near St. Joe, Texas, you're kind of on the cusp of where it's rain, no rain, no rain, no rain, no rain, rain, no rain. So with a watershed that big, it seems like you would want to build it to where you could plan for the lake to fluctuate a few feet.
Correct.
How'd you do that? What did you think about there?
Structure is the main thing on that. We know we're going to try to keep our structure spread out.
So structure meaning fish structure.
Correct.
Okay, so now we've shifted from building the dam. Now we're going to look at habitat. So behind that dam is this living, breathing entity that's going to be your fishing lake. What are your goals for your fishing lake?
We're wanting to be able to go possibly catch a double-digit bass.
Nobody's ever said that.
And we would love to have some big bluegill, and I want to take my kids out there and let them catch as many fish as they want to catch.
And bring their friends.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's, you know what, that's very cool. Kyle Edwards, Landon Wyatt checking in. Landon's standing over by the door. He's checking in. He's standing right there. He's going to be on next. You guys are going to get to meet Landon. Just so you
viewers know, there's about 15 people behind this camera.
Yeah, we've got our very first studio audience. I love that. And Steve Lewis, fisheries biologist from Hot Springs, Arkansas. He grows some giant Florida bass fingerlings for the state of Arkansas and stocks public lakes.
Wow.
Debbie Patterson's checking in. Yeah, we're hanging out. We're hanging out with some of your best buds over here. Yeah, Kenny and Melanie are hanging out, Debbie. And congratulations on Jared's election. You got you a bona fide politician and a servant of the state, and gonna be good at it because it's in him. It's in him. Eric Avery says, as you were planning your habitat, how many habitat structures per acre were you shooting for?
That's a really good question. We're looking to do 3 to 5 habitat structures per acre.
Okay, and how big are they?
We're still working on that, but we're trying to take the concept of a fish city,
okay,
and incorporate that as much as we can. We're buying habitat as well as building some of our own. There's no wrong way to do it, so we're playing around.
So in the car wash business, you have a whole lot of 30-gallon barrels.
We have a lot of 30-gallon and
you have a lot of pipe
drones. We
yep.
do.
Okay, so what they're doing is, and I love this because they've given this a lot of thought, Eric Avery. Eric, what they're doing is they've already built some spawning beds. Now, one of the challenges where they are is the water is going to rise and fall. So what they've done is they've built some spawning areas about as big as a pickup truck, probably, right? West
About
family?
as wide as that, and probably 100 foot long, and they're shelved down
okay.
to compensate for the water fluctuation.
There you go. There is the biggest tip of the day so far. They're thinking about knowing that the pond elevation is going to drop. So they're building some spawning beds. If you don't have good spawning beds, you're not going to have good fish numbers and good fish reproduction. So they're doing that. And then to build the community that we talk about all the time, they've designed some pretty cool dense habitat with some PVC pipe and some flexible tubing.
Yes, sir.
You know, and then you're using some of your plastic drums. Nothing toxic in there, just car wash stuff.
They're cleaned well beforehand.
Soap. You clean soap barrels with soap.
Just rinse it out.
And so they're using these different things to create some pretty cool habitat. And I've seen pictures of it. It's really neat. There's Brendan. Jerry Patterson's checking in now. We got Debbie and Jerry there. Over here back in the studio audience, we've got Kenny and Melanie over here hanging out with us over here. They've had a great time. They can't wait to tell you all about it. Brendan is a taxidermist, so when you catch this giant fish over here tomorrow, get him the dimensions, and Brendan will make you a replica.
Sounds awesome.
And Brendan knows the deal. He's already put hashtag PondBoss Magazine, going to share this video to his timeline, make you eligible for a drawing. Now, I don't know who's getting the PondBoss hat today in the mug. When I didn't bring one. Oh, well. But Leanne will let us know, and we'll announce it next week. But if you'll hashtag PondBoss Magazine, share it, click like, you're eligible for a drawing for a PondBoss hat and a mug. Isn't that cool? That's cool. All right, so now you've designed the dam. You're working on your habitat. You're kind of plagued with rain. Well, if the lake were finished, it would be full now. But they're having to get the water out so you can get the heavy equipment back in there and finish what you want to do. So then you can do another rain dance, pray for rain, and then we can put a few fish in it.
Right.
So the long-term goals are, we'd like to have some big bluegill, a bunch of 2 to 4 to 6 pound bass.
Absolutely.
With a legitimate chance to catch a double digit. That's it.
That's it.
And you're on track for that.
That's what we're looking for.
Holy cow. When do you think you'll be finished?
I'm hoping to stock this in the spring.
It's only been how long?
Depends
5
on
years?
if we get a bunch of rain in the spring. I was talking to a gentleman earlier tonight, and it took 3 years to fill his pond up. So
well, it's only taking you 5 to build it.
Exactly. What's another 3?
Then your children will be having children. You know? Oh wait, how old are they? Never mind. Well, listen, hey, when you get a minute, if you can come back on here and in the comment section, post a few pictures if you can do that. Sure. That'd be cool. Pictures of your structure. and give some guys some ideas on what they can do?
Certainly.
That'd be pretty cool. What kind of closing comments you got? I tell you what would you give advice to our viewers? What would you tell them? If you're thinking about building a lake, what would you tell them?
Call Mike Otto. Definitely get the book that
Just Add Water.
Just Add
Yep,
Water.
That's a great book.
That is a gold mine of information.
The guy knows what he's doing.
He
And
does.
you know what? I'm gonna give out his cell phone number.
I didn't do it, Mike. It wasn't me.
940-736-5333. Now here's the deal. Mike Otto goes to bed right after the news, the 6 o'clock news. And he wakes up at 3:30 in the morning. So you can call him anytime between about 6 in the morning and 4 o'clock at night. And he'll be happy to talk to you and help you build a pond. You know, I love it. I love it when a family comes together with some. And this land has been in your family how long?
Since the late 1800s.
The late 1800s. So this is a legacy property. It's not like they're coming in, building a pond, you know, trying to stock it, and then go sell the property, because you're going to pass this on to your children and your children and your grandchildren. And I tell you, here's a big tip. And these guys have done that. Remember, before you move one spade of dirt, that what you do, the decisions you make, are going to affect that land for at least 5 generations past you. That's a big deal, and that's a big responsibility. Mm-hmm. So even though it's taken a while, I'm really thrilled that you guys are doing your homework and doing your due diligence. So now we're going to go, in a minute, have a fire pit, make some s'mores, maybe drink a little bit of wine, red wine, and hang out. Jacob West, loyal follower, fan of this.
Absolutely.
Deal? Glad you're here, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, appreciate it, buddy. Hey, Landon Wyatt, come here. We're going to talk about all this stuff here.
All right.
Jump in here, buddy. Landon Wyatt.
Thanks for having
Holy
me.
cow, thanks for being had.
Yeah.
Landon is a microbiologist, and I'm going to let him tell you more about what he does, because he knows more about him than I do, although I love what he does. Now, he's been a contributing writer to Pond Boss several times, and he's working on an article right now, aren't you?
I am.
See?
We're going to get it coming out soon.
There you go. And it's going to help yourself with the way that your water works. And what he does is he works with, raise your shirt up here. I say it to my wife and I get slapped. Natural Lake Biosciences, also known as Aquafix. Is the Aquafix name kind of gone? Jacob West look at that. Jacob West just checked in. He just checked out and he just checked in. I love that. You are the man.
Hey, I got to get the drawing for the hat.
Yeah, you got to get in the drawing for the hat. There's Mike Collins is joining. All right, so Landon, tell us a little bit about Natural Lake Biosciences and what you do.
Okay, so Natural Lake Biosciences. Many people have been following Pond Boss for a long time, know the name Aquafix. Natural Lake Biosciences is just a division of Aquafix. Aquafix is still our parent company. For anybody that doesn't know, we are a research laboratory based out of Madison, Wisconsin. Our lab's in the University of Wisconsin Research Park.
Ah, okay.
Half of our business is devoted to developing biological products for wastewater treatment. And the half that's relevant here is we make biological products for the lake and pond management industry. So the professionals that go out, help build these ponds, help maintain these ponds and fisheries, we help them make their job easier.
I love that. Can we get just a little technical and analyze a pond? Just a little bit?
Sure.
Justin and I, yesterday, we took our electrofishing boat. We're making a tour through this area. And we went and looked at about a 9 or 10 acre lake yesterday over near Chester, South Carolina, a couple hours west of here. Mm-hmm. And Al Allison, who's a very faithful Pond Boss subscriber, he does everything by the book. The pressure is Pond Boss provides the book, and he follows it to the T. So he built this lake, designed it, built habitat, kind of like what the West are doing, except he doesn't have access to car wash stuff. He's got to go get stuff that he has because he's in the real estate business.
Okay.
You know, which everybody does what they can do, right? So he created this pretty cool habitat, stocked his fish, and for 7 or 8 years, things were clicking along really well. Then he had a fish kill. Mm-hmm. So he had fed the pond. He had the fish kill, I think he said 2 years ago. So he lost, these giant bass, some double-digit fish, some big bluegills. So that made him decide he wanted to install an aeration system. So he started digging through the Pond Boss advertising and stuff, and he picked one out, and he bought a bottom diffused aeration system, and then a circulator. Okay, well, he decided he wanted to run it from what did he tell me? From 7 at night till 9 in the morning during the hottest part of the year. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got a huge amount of threadfin shad, which are filter feeders.
Yep.
So they're feeding on plankton. Mm-hmm. He's got hybrid striped bass, largemouth bass, bluegill, and red ear sunfish. Okay, so then in July, even with the aeration system running full blast, with the circulators moving, he had a fish kill. Now he termed it a minor fish kill, where he lost a few bass, and he's an analytical guy. He counted some threadfin shad, put them in a bucket, then counted the buckets and estimated he lost 25,000 threadfin shad.
Woo!
And you could see on the top of the water this film of what looked like dead planktonic algae or dead blue-green algae. So one of the trends, here's where I'm going. One of the trends I'm seeing, Landon, is that there are a lot of ponds out there where the plankton, algae, blue-green algae balances are getting out of whack. I see that as a trend.
Sure.
Are you seeing that as a trend?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
across the country.
Okay. Now we seem to see it more in agricultural properties, where this one is a cotton farm, and they also cut hay in the watershed. So now, if you were giving advice to Terry McNabb says, get to work. Is he talking to you?
He might be.
You're talking to him? So and there's Amber Young checking in from Whitesboro. We know Amber. So if you were going to talk to Al Allison about his pond, what kind of protocol would you set up, or what kind of advice would you give him for next summer to help prevent a fish kill? And I guess that question may be a little premature. Would you just, knowing what you just heard, would you set up kind of a protocol to sample his water? What would you do?
Yeah, I might do that. So the first question when dealing with any pond, just as if I'm the person that's going to manage it, the first question I always ask is, what are you trying to accomplish? Mm-hmm. What are you trying to do?
He
with
wants
your
a good
pond?
fishing
Yeah,
pond
what's
for all of his
your
buddies.
goal?
Yeah. Okay.
And then finding out all the relevant details. I suppose in a case like that, if I had that many fish die, I know that there is a large amount of biomass now that likely just sunk to the bottom. And unless he netted a lot of them out.
He did. He netted all of them out.
Well, there you go.
Dude, he got this big, he got a muck rake, covered it in screen, and picked all of them up and put them in buckets and got a good estimate of what he lost. So all that stuff came out. But what led up to that, so he's thinking that he didn't aerate right. I'm thinking that the ratios of his phytoplankton, zooplankton, blue-green algae was not good.
It could be.
Okay.
It could be, but you know better than I. There's lots of reasons for a fish kill.
Yep. Okay. So if it's not because the aerator's running, and we do have too much biomass, and nature made a correction, with Natural Lake Biosciences / Aquafix, could he send you a sample of water and have you look at it?
Yeah, we can do a water quality analysis.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So when you look at that water quality analysis, what are you looking at?
So we typically do a 16-point water quality analysis, algae ID, find out if there's anything out of balance, something out of normal.
How do you charge for that?
Qualities.
How much is that?
So typically it's about $350 for water quality analysis. That gives you a full analysis right above the major and minor algae, and then recommendations on how
what to do about it.
Be proactive about your pond. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you that just had a little sticker shock at that $350, what are 25,000 threadfin shad worth? They're worth $200 a thousand. That's $5,000 worth of fish that just died. that it maybe a $350 water sample could have led to something that he could have predicted.
Sure.
So let's just carry this further, because in my gut, I don't know the answer because I wasn't there, but I think that he had a plankton crash that was aeration had nothing to do with it. It just got to the point where it was going to die. It was going to crash. Mm-hmm. Had you been monitoring that, and let's say we start looking to see where, holy cow, this balance of algae is getting out of whack a little bit. What can you do to help with that?
Yeah, so balance of algae, balance of the microbial community that's in your pond that helps keep a lot of those excess nutrients at bay. Is the easiest way to explain it.
Okay, so what you would do at Natural Lake Biosciences would be to analyze the algae and then say, wait a minute, we need to come up with this blend of microbes that you can apply into your pond.
You got it.
That will help manage the balances and shift them back to something healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you do?
Absolutely, we can help with that.
Okay, so how does that work? Let's do some how do people get in touch with you? Let's do that right now.
Easiest thing, email us at info@naturallake.com with one L, so it's actually naturalake.com. Or give us a call at 888-757-9575.
Say it again.
888-957, or sorry, 888-957-9575.
Okay, so what if you think that you've got some issues? Let's say your water's kind of lime green, or it's got a aquamarine tint, or a color that's bothering you. Give him a call and let him help you figure that out, because if you do have something where your algae and the biology of what's growing in the water gets out of whack, they can help you figure that out. Now, I know this, with Al Allison's first fish kill, it was gut-wrenching. I mean, it was like, I'm not going to say it's like losing a family member, because you can't compare that, but his pond was part of his outdoor family. And he probably lost 9 years worth of fish growth. What's that worth? And if he'd known that he could have this service, even if he spent a couple of $1,000s on microbial products to prevent that fish kill, because I guarantee that fish kill took 15 minutes. That's all it took. It was done. It was done within 6 hours. The majority of those fish were dead within 15 minutes. So if you can predict that 15 minutes and do something to keep it from happening, then you saved a lot. So that's the kind of stuff you can do. What are some of the? Go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, this is good. So that's a good question there by Roger Benson. And it's something that
Roger. Let's see. We got John Mikulik checking in. Listen, McWhorter, sampling for what? Plankton and algae. Microtrail, how often should you water test it and time of year? If you want to check, we're talking about two things here. Check water chemistry. You can do that once a quarter. Then you're looking at the things like pH, alkalinity, hardness, minerals, metals, things like that. What we're talking about with Landon is what's growing in the water. So how often should you do that? Should you do that once a quarter, once a month, in the summertime?
Yeah, I would say in the summertime typically.
Okay. Okay.
Once a month is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we got Stephen Barden checking in. Stephen Barden's Fisheries Biologist.
Yeah.
You know Stephen? Okay. And then Ed Spinopoulos. Who knows him? Raise your hand. I know Ed.
I know Ed.
All right. So now let's get back to Roger Benson. If you add microbes, does it last for multiple years?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and it's something that we get asked, or our scientists get asked all the time. When you're adding the types of products that we make, so the probiotic products specifically, what you're really trying to do is the microbes that you add are temporarily in that system, but you're trying to stimulate, more importantly, the microbes that are already in the natural environment.
Okay, explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so you're adding products that fill in the gaps, just like if you or I were to take a probiotic.
My wife makes me do that every day.
There you go. So you're not replacing all the microbes that you already have in your gut.
You're just adding what you don't have.
You're adding some stuff that you don't have, and you're stimulating that community to make it more abundant and more diverse to do its job better.
Okay, so now where Roger's going is once you add these to fill the gap.
And they're temporarily. So typically microbes that you buy on the market, whether they're from us or from anybody, those typically have a growth curve in an environment. We say you can typically find them 10 to 30 days, something like that. And that's why on the market you'll see these products saying, hey, add them every 2 to 4 weeks. And there's lots of things that make them not last that long. But think about a rain event. You'd have a lot of microbes wash out. Maybe you have to come in and do an herbicide or an algicide treatment. That limits the diversity and abundance of microbes. So then you add some more back in. Keep yourself healthy. Just like we do a probiotic, daily, weekly, monthly, something like that.
Here's what I hear that you just said. Is one of the arguments against adding microbes is they're already there.
Sure.
Well, there are microbes there, but that doesn't mean. And now here's a fisheries biologist interpretation of this. It's you have something that microbes are going to eat, then they eat it, then what? So they reproduce exponentially. So when they're in there eating degrading algae or decomposing organic matter or the leaves that are falling off your oak trees right now into your pond, and those microbes are feeding on that, at some point they're going to reach a tipping point, and when they do that, they're going to do what they do, then they're going to decline.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be more organic matter coming in, and that also doesn't mean that all the right kind of microbes to feed on that stuff are going to be there. So what you're saying is you're going to add, kind of like taking a multivitamin and probiotics every morning. Honey, bring me my vitamins. And so what you're saying is you want to be sure to add more stuff to help keep your water balanced.
You got it.
Okay, that's it. So there's your
way to
tip.
explain
Now, one of the things that I preach about and people make fun of me about is you got to have happy water. If you don't have happy water, West family, if your water's not happy, all that structure you're putting in becomes irrelevant. So what Landon is saying is there's ways to monitor your water quality. Now that water sample, it seems kind of high to me, although the value of your fishery is pretty high to me. So if they're going to spend $350 on a water sample, what all are you looking at for that? What are you going to do?
Oh, you're going to make me run down the 16-point water quality test?
16-point water quality test.
Man.
Okay, so they're going to get a detailed report.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're going to offer up a prescription.
Yeah.
If they need it.
If they need it.
Okay.
Typically, someone that sends a sample to our laboratories is having some issues. So let's say that they built their lake, and
let's just go with the West.
Everything's been going fine, but now they start having.
The fish aren't feeding like they should.
Fish aren't feeding like
Water's
they should.
got a funky color to it.
Starting to have some harmful algae blooms, getting some fish kills.
Okay.
When they're having issues and it's not responding, that's typically when somebody will send a sample to our laboratory, and we'll help them.
Wouldn't it be a little bit better if people could recognize that they might be going to have a problem and send you a water sample?
They could do that. We'd certainly accept it. We certainly would do that. But if you take a proactive approach, my opinion on it is if you take a proactive approach and you're doing all the right things in building your lake in the first place, you're trying to take care of all of the extra stuff. You're adding the proper amount of fish, the right kind of fish. You're adding structure in there. You're doing things like adding microbes to make sure that those structures have a healthy biofilm to help cycle out some of those nutrients as they wash in from the agricultural fields.
Yep.
You're monitoring it for invasive species. If you're doing all those right things, you shouldn't have a problem.
I love that. Key point here, and here's something that the West are doing that I think is brilliant. I don't think they knew it. They're laughing at me. But here, being in the business they're in, they have access to all these plastic barrels, plastic jugs, plastic pipe, all kinds of stuff. They've even got some plastic, what do you call them? wall panels, plastic wall panels. That is habitat for biofilm. So when they're building their fish structures out there, they're adding some plastic under the water, which allows natural biofilm to grow, which helps process that surrounding area of water. So when we start talking about aerating their lake, we may be talking more about circulating water than we talk about bottom diffused aeration, because their lake's going to be pretty dadgum deep, like halfway to China. Deep.
At least
like,
that.
Yeah, like 38 feet deep. Look at that. There's Rick Best checking in. Rick was a sheriff's deputy here in Scotland County and great friend of the Morgans and Kingfisher. Rick, good to see you, buddy. Howdy. Frank James is asking a question. He said, do you find that fertilized and fed ponds are more at risk of a fish kill?
Depends where you're at in the country.
There's your answer, Frank. Frank James, there's your answer. It really does. You know, like if you're feeding a feed like Aquamax, that is a high protein, very efficient feed, you're not introducing nearly as many nutrients unless you're feeding 200 pounds a day, or in a half acre pond, 20 pounds a day. You know, so, but the bottom line answer is that a fertilized and fed pond can be more at risk than one that's not fed or fertilized, unless you're in Iowa, you know, or Illinois, where the cornfields are. Or in a minute, we're going to have David Reich step up here with us. You know, where he lives in Ohio, he's dealing with that kind of stuff all the time. He's working with urban ponds that where people cut grass after they. Well, I've always thought it's strange. We do this. We fertilize our lawn, then we mow it. Oh, but wait, we water it so it will grow, so we can mow it, and then we fertilize it. You know, so in cases like that, yeah, you gotta contend with it some. Susie Nugent, she just did hashtag Pond Boss Magazine. Hey, Susie, look here. A hat just showed up. Pond Boss hat. Hashtag Pond Boss Magazine. Click like. Share this video to your timeline. Help us build an audience. Because, I mean, this is good meat. I mean, even Stephen Barton sitting here saying, yeah, I get this. I like that. Because he knows Landon knows what he's talking about. Because he works with Landon on some of the bacterial products. So let's go this direction for a few minutes, Landon. Somebody sends you a sample and their water chemistry is okay, but the biology is a little bit out of balance, leaning toward a harmful algae bloom. Mm-hmm. And so now you feel a sense of urgency. I guess you're going to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, you got issues and you need to act on it pretty quick.
Sure.
All right. And so then you're going to give them a game plan on what they need to do, but then you'll also follow up with them to help make sure that process is working.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of being able to give them a recommendation is getting as much information about their water body, their pond, and what they're trying to accomplish. We'll give them a prescription, or we'll hook them up with a great local pond management company like Aqueduct coming up next.
Yeah.
And we'll get them all set up and get their pond taken care of.
Outstanding. So you're not just a lab that tests the water and then sends them a couple of gallons of some frou-frou juice to help them make their pond better. You're going to help them get to that end game that they want.
Yeah,
so you've got dealers, distributors, just like Pond Boss has got advertisers. You know, they come to Pond Boss, we'll help them as well, and then steer them in the right direction.
We want to make safer water and better lives.
Say that again. That's brilliant. That's lovely.
We want to make safer water and better lives.
That's outstanding. You know, one of the things in the business that we're in, it grieves me to read about a harmful algae bloom, an HAB. There's your acronym for the day.
I like it.
Where I'll hear where somebody in Ohio, we'll talk about that, David, lets their dog go swim in a pond that's got a heavy blue-green algae bloom, and the dog dies from it. I mean, you're seeing that happen more and more and more.
There has been an instance of people dying as well.
Ugh. So it's real. You know what? It's real important that you understand your water chemistry and your water biology. That's a big deal. Now, that doesn't affect most of us, but in that rare instance when it does, you know, and if you could do something about it, you will.
Only takes one.
That's it.
So be proactive, manage your pond.
Yep. Roger Benson says, my pond is 3 acres, no livestock runoff, deep, and has springs as well. This year, for the first time ever, I had a water mill issue. in western Missouri. Will it reoccur next year, and can I prevent it? Yes, it will reoccur
Yes,
next
it
year.
absolutely will.
I'm so sorry to tell you that. Watermeal is the smallest aquatic plant. Looks like cornmeal, and it probably came from the pond upstream from you. And it's those dadgum plants. We'll get David to talk about that in a minute. But those things reproduce exponentially. So, yeah, you need to do something about it. We'll get David up here to talk about that. Landon Wyatt, holy cow. Tomorrow we're going fishing.
Absolutely,
In a minute,
I'm
we're going to
excited.
go make s'mores on the campfire and hang out with the West and David and everybody else. We got a whole group here tonight. So,
All right.
Thanks for joining me on this
Thanks for
show,
having me.
buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll
All
see
right.
you here in a little bit at the
Make
fire.
sure everyone keeps watching the Pond Boss.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, keep watching this. It's much fun. Hey, come here, David.
Yep.
Uh-oh, David's got something going on here. He's bringing a hat. What are you going to do? Come here, David.
You know it's all about branding.
It's all about branding. David
right.
Reichs, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Where in the heck do you live?
I live east of Cleveland, Ohio.
Why?
Good old Chardonnay. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, winter's coming.
You know, it really is.
That's right.
You know, in
That's right.
Texas, we have this thing called summer. In Ohio, you have this thing called winter.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know, used to, I would think ice was what you put in tea, iced tea,
Yeah.
you know, until I went. You
Yeah.
know, and there's so many cool winter sports, you know, like our good friend Bob Robinson at Casco. I
Yeah.
mean, he's about as big around as a beanpole and loves cross-country skiing,
Yep.
you know, and ice fishing and snowmobiling and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Guys in the South, they don't really wrap their brain around that.
In fact, right across from our corporate, we've got a small ski resort. Right
Really?
across the street. Yep.
So how do y'all work every day in the winter?
We get there. We get it done.
Just lunch break, we're going skiing.
It's a lot of a lot of that.
Well, David, tell us a little. Tell everybody about your background. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us, and then tell us a little bit about Aqueduct.
Well, it's funny. My background's in the turf industry. I ran golf courses for 10 plus years, and got the opportunity. I met John Wilson, owner of Aqueduct, and got the opportunity. Came aboard and started a new career, and it's been fire. John Wilson, those of you who know him, is owned Aqueduct for 35 plus years, and we're
He's
growing
only
every
42
year.
years old.
Imagine that.
Yeah. You know what? John usually checks in, but there's
Yeah.
a big event
We got
going
an
on
event.
tonight,
Yep.
so he'll probably see this later,
Yep.
and you're going to represent him well.
That's right.
That's
That's
good.
right. That's
so,
right.
so tell us about Aqueduct. What does Aqueduct do?
We are a full-time lake and pond management company.
Based out of Chadron, Ohio,
Chardon, Ohio. Yep.
and then you.
We've got 5 total offices.
Okay, tell us about that.
4 in Ohio, Toledo, Columbus, Cincinnati, and we have another branch in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's right, because you guys consolidated with or bought out part of Greg Grimes'
That's right.
business. Right. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yep, and that's going very well.
Yep.
Joe Reynolds, our manager down there, is doing well. It's growing like crazy.
Okay.
Little different world, more along your lines in Texas.
Yep.
Much more fisheries management, but you know it's a good challenge that we took.
So what Aqueduct does more than anything is help people with like stormwater retention ponds, urban neighborhood ponds.
Yep, our bread and HOA ponds. It could be business. It could be personal, private owner ponds.
Okay. So let's go back to Roger Benson here. He says my pond is 3 acres, no livestock runoff, deep springs. This is the first time ever he's got watermeal in western Missouri. Will it reoccur next year, and can I prevent it?
Yeah, it's most likely going to reoccur once that plant is in your system. If it gone untreated, unmanaged, it will return. It'll go dormant in the winter months, especially in the Midwest, and then it'll rear its ugly head when water temperatures come up and sun comes out. So, I guess the best advice there is contact your neighborhood professional algae and weed control professional management company. Get them out, do an assessment, and put together a management plan before it gets too late.
You know, where you are in western Missouri, there is Midwest Lake Management in Polo, Missouri. That's Sean Banks and Jeff Slipke. Those guys know what they're doing, but the answer to your question is yes, it will reoccur next year. Even if you have ice, it's not going to freeze it out. So you'll want to be proactive and get it really before it escalates next year. And there's ways to deal with it. You can deal with it physically, maybe depending on the configuration of your pond. It may mean you need to use an enzyme, or some type of herbicide
Yep.
to take it out. And study about it some. If you go to pondboss.com and click on our resource guide, we've got a number of really good advertisers that can help you with that. So we got vendors, advertisers, and a lot of colleagues and friends that would be real happy to help you with that. So check that out. So now, David, here we are hanging out at Kingfisher.
Yep.
You guys are going to chase those elusive 2+ pound bluegill tomorrow, and maybe a big largemouth bass.
I don't know. I don't know what those are. In Ohio, we don't get double-digit bass or 8-pound bass, and we get a 3-pound bass, and we're excited, right?
Yeah.
Right, Landon. So yeah, it's if someone could teach someone in Ohio how to grow big bass, that'd be great.
Yeah. Hey, I can do
Look
that.
at that.
Hey, I know how to do that. Call me.
Um,
Call me. Seriously, I hope you grow some big bass.
That's right.
You know, along those lines, I'm going to take another sip of wine, and I'm going to tell you a story right quick. You're going to like this. I didn't put a drop of alcohol in my body till I was almost 50. True story. And I was in upstate New York. My wife, the queen, said, you know what? You don't drink coffee with me. You don't run around with your friends. Would you at least drink a little bit of wine with me? And I thought, no, I'm not really up for that. So I drank a little bit, and I didn't die. But what I thought was really cool is the process. You know, and where we were in the Finger Lakes region. There's like 85 wineries there. Mm-hmm. So part of my mission in upstate New York was to try to help grow some bass beyond 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, okay, what's the box? And if I could figure out the box, then I could figure out how to get outside the box. Well, the box was the growing season is too short.
Yep.
There's not enough bait fish, and you can't have the right genetics. That's the box. Well, this winery owner, a vineyard expert, came in and did a little wine tasting. And where I was, had these guys, this company had chefs. So they'd pair their food with their wine, and then we'd taste it. And I'll never forget, because the vineyard owner, who was also a sommelier, I learned that word then. Pretty big word.
Yeah, big word.
He said, I was real puzzled because what happened there is when I bought this vineyard near Cayuga Lake in upstate New York, he said, my grapes bloomed late, they grew way too fast, and they ripened way too quick. He said, but when I checked, the juice was just right, the sugar was right, the brix was good, the acidity was right, the color was right. He said, but I was a little bit afraid to pick them. He said, so I called my mentor in Napa and told her what was going on. And she said, hey, if your brix is right, the color's right, the juice is right, acidity's right, pick the grapes and make your wine. He said, well, I don't quite get that. So here's what she explained. She said, you have got 125 perfect grape growing days in upstate New York in a row. And in Napa, we've got 125 perfect grape growing days spread out over 300 days. Because some days it's too hot, some days it's too cool. Mm-hmm. And man, that just resonated with me, David. So I raised my hand and I said, what is a perfect grape growing day? He said, when the temperature's between about 55 and 83. Guess what's a perfect bass growing day? Mm-hmm. When the water temperatures are between 55 and 83. So I got on the National Weather Service site and started looking around the nation, and I promise you, almost everybody in these United States has the same number of perfect bass growing days. Mm-hmm. You've got the same number where you live as I do at my house. I mean, I've got 94-degree water in August. A bass is panting like a dog on those days, And so what I figured out, it was more about the food chain, because in upstate New York, bluegill don't spawn until June. Where in Texas, they're spawning in January or February, and then again in March, then again in May, then again in full moon in July, then again in August, then in September. So it ended up being about food. So and David Beasley, you know David.
Yeah.
David Beasley, we hired him as a student at SUNY Cobleskill back then to help us manage these ponds. So what we put him to work doing was with a hatchery program where you could grow fathead minnows and sunfish and suckers, white suckers. And when he did that and started plugging those into those fish, they exploded in growth. Yeah. So now Daniel McCorder says, howdy, Bob, I'm running late. Hey, go back and watch from the front. It's pretty good this week, Daniel. I put a gallon of flocculant, rapid clear, in my 120,000 gallon pond this morning, and although it treats 68,000 gallons, it made a tremendous difference. The 2 months of rain here in South Texas had brought clayey dirt and set up a constant algae bloom, giving me a solid green look. This flock gave me 2 feet of clear water, so turned off the aerators this evening to see how much more settles out. Now, a question, can the bacteria for the bottom sludge get to the sludge to decompose it after it's been coagulated? Good gosh.
Yes.
Dude, what a question.
Landon says yes.
The answer to that, okay, we're going to give you a long answer to that long question. Ready? Are you listening, Daniel? Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So the answer is yeah. So actually, you would advise to let it settle out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let it settle out, which will concentrate it. This time of year, with your cooler water temperatures, you're not worried about it going anaerobic on you too fast. And with a pond that size, the answer is yeah, it can do a great job to do that. Yes, there's Chris Blood. You know Chris.
Yep, Chris Blood.
Chris Blood's checking in. All right, Chris, good to see you, buddy. Okay, so now David, let's go this direction. When the phone rings at Aquadoc's World Headquarters, and it's a typical customer.
Yep.
What do they want?
My pond has algae or weeds.
Okay.
That is typically what we get.
Okay.
In the Midwest, it's a little bit different. We're dealing with a lot of nutrients in the water. Our hot days are hot, so you're getting algae blooms. You're getting weed blooms.
Okay.
And our time lane is real short. Our summers are short, so they want to enjoy their pond. They want to be out there swimming. They want to be out there fishing, whatever it may be.
They don't want to deal with dead dogs.
Yeah. Worst case scenario. But yeah.
Okay.
So our great staff at Aquadoc answers the phone, and they said, hey, we can help. Let's set up a free consultation. We come out and take a look at the water, measure it up, see, okay, it's got this algae, it's got this weed, it's got this type of issue. And then we actually provide a problem-solving issue for you and say, hey, boom, here's your plan. Here's how we take care of your water. It's all on us now. Let us take care of it for you, and we'll have it going for you guys.
Okay, so what you'll do is you go do a free consultation
Absolutely.
to just kind of give them a brief analysis of what's wrong.
Yep.
And then based on your decades of experience with
Yep.
Aquadoc,
Yep.
John Wilson, who,
John Wilson.
holy cow, how old is he? He's been at it how long?
35 years.
35 years.
Yep.
He ain't even that old.
Well,
He plays baseball for the Cleveland Indians.
He does.
I love that guy.
Well, he started in the excavation part of it too. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Okay, so he knows how to build a pond
that's how Aquadoc started
from the ground down.
Yep. And they finally said, hey, maybe someone should take care of these things we're digging.
Okay. So then what happens is when somebody really calls you when they have a problem.
Yep.
So you'll send a staff member out to analyze that and then come up with a protocol.
Yep.
With a product lineup and say, okay, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And then they say, yes, I want to do that, or no, I don't.
Yes.
And so usually they say, yes, I want to do that, take care of it because I've only got 60 days to enjoy my pond.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, how long did it take for that pond to get that problem?
That's always the question I ask because they forget real quick.
That
how
it took
long
2 years.
2 years to get that back.
Yeah, so can you fix it in the morning?
Nope. Yep. Yeah. It takes time. It definitely takes time and patience. These are living, breathing ecosystems. There is things other than fish, as you well know.
Yep.
That we are very stewards of the environment. We are always cautious in what's going on.
Bingo.
And then trying to get the best product out for the bang for these folks.
Okay. So what you're doing there is, you're not really out there to sell a product. You're
Nope.
out there
Nope.
to sell results.
Yep.
So if somebody's got an issue, part of your job is they're not happy with it. It may have taken 2 or 3 years to get that way. So you're going to figure out a safe way to get their pond healthy again. Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things about the Midwest that I just love is, as a matter of fact, you can go on Google Earth to see this everywhere in the Midwest. A lot of these ponds have a beach, a gravel beach, a sandy beach. They want to go swimming in it.
Yeah.
In order to go swimming, you got to have a healthy, happy water pond.
Happy water.
Let's see here. We got Pierce Johnston checking in. Look at there's Mitchell Morton. You know Mitchell, don't you? Mm-hmm. Mitchell from Foster Lake Management. Hey, we've invaded your territory, dude.
That's right.
We're hanging out in Laurinburg, going fishing at Richmond Mill, and why aren't you here? I know you're going to type in because I wasn't invited. Mm-hmm. Well, you're invited now. Come on over. We'll be up till about 9.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right. So Chris Blood. Okay, and actually Landon's over there typing on his phone. He's replying to Daniel. He says, make sure you're using a bacterial pellet or a tablet if you're focusing on the bottom sludge. Is that so you can expedite the process, Landon?
You're not
Or-
really going to get a bunch of muck or sludge.
He's saying you're not going to get a bunch of muck or sludge
if you're
reduction.
using a powder or a liquid.
Oh, if you're using a powder or liquid, it ain't going to happen
Bacteria
fast.
move all around.
Okay, so if Daniel buys a pelleted version of product, and so you're targeting and you're going to dump it right on top of that sludge, and it's going to happen a lot faster. All right, Chris Blood says he's with Texas Hunter Feeders, which thank you for your sponsorship, Mr. Blood. We got Purina Mills, the Society of Lake Management Professionals that sponsor this show a little bit, and Texas Hunter Feeders. He's saying, how do fish feeders play a part in a short season in the northern states to grow bigger forage fish and bigger bass? Do you guys feed the fish in Ohio?
We do a few, not a lot.
Okay. So what does it take for you to recommend a fish feeder to somebody?
They have to be very dedicated to a good fishery.
Okay.
Because a lot of what we find is the mom and pop would like to just go out and feed and throw a couple handfuls, and that's kind of the fun. The feeding, it does not happen as much as it should. For
Okay.
the fisheries, we just don't have the fishery base.
So the industry in the north, and why wouldn't it be strong?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Let me tell you,
Yeah, go.
this little thing called winter kill.
Yeah.
You know, because people don't really understand how to keep their water happy 12 months out of the year. You know, so in northern states, when you've got this layer of stuff like we put in tea in Texas called ice, you know, when you have a layer of ice on a pond, most of the time the ice isn't clear. Now, I'm not telling you something you don't know, but I'm telling people south of the Mason-Dixon line something they don't know. Ice doesn't freeze clear most of the time. It freezes cloudy. And so when that happens, sunlight can't penetrate down in it. When that happens, the living organisms that have any kind of chlorophyll, whether it's algae or bushy pondweed or curly leaf pondweed, can't photosynthesize. So that means it's respiring using oxygen. So it's a common occurrence in small, shallow ponds in the north for fish to die because of winter kill. So that's another reason people don't feed the fish. But if they aerate their water, they're using the right kind of microbes, they're managing their plants, keeping their water healthy and happy, limiting the influx of nutrients by also allowing some of those nutrients to flush out, then they stand a better chance of having a better fishery. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement.
Look at that, I got it right.
Aeration, aeration, aeration.
You know, when a real estate person tells you something, when you're asking, it says location, 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 he's saying
Aeration, aeration, aeration.
move your water.
I don't care if it's turf or water.
The more you move it, the more healthy it is.
That's right.
There we go.
That's right.
Jason Nepstad's saying, hey, don't let Bob stay up too late. He's got a big day tomorrow. I'm going to go see Jason over here in Fayetteville.
Nice.
We got a big day lined up. Hey, Jason, here's the bigger deal. Hope you can go to sleep tonight because you're so dadgum excited that we're going to hang out and study your lake and look at your fish and stuff. So you get enough rest, you can keep up with this old man. All right, Sean Rocks, who's that?
That's my brother.
Brother?
Yep.
Y'all's parents reproduced twice?
I don't know. Scary, right?
All right, tell us about Sean.
No, he's an engineer. He doesn't know anything about water.
Oh.
What's funny about this is to bring this all back is my family's in the car business or car wash business as well as your first guest here.
Yeah.
So not on the same episode, but we got one left out of 7 or 8 my dad had. So, but he's actually an engineer at Pentair who makes water vessels for pressure tanks.
Oh.
So we're all kind of wrapped into the water business.
What a
somehow.
small family.
Yeah, it's
Well,
weird.
Sean, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
You might even win an aquadoc hat.
Somebody will.
What are you gonna do with this hat?
Hey, anybody you choose can win it. Who's listening tonight can take it. We'll send it to them.
You know what? When we do the drawing, we will send an aquadoc hat and a pond
And
boss
a
hat.
pond boss
There you
hat.
go. That's what we're gonna do. All right, Daniel McCorder. Yes, I used the tabs this summer, and they do work great. I'm currently trying a pellet looks like fish food from Amazon that was relatively cheap.
Oh,
Uh-oh. You can dissolve for distribution or throw the pellets at sink. Don't know how effective it is yet. Okay, so I heard a couple of chuckles, but you'd rather.
well, Amazon was.
I know. Can you send Daniel some pellets?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do that, Landon?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. So you have a couple of sources here: Aquadoc and Natural Lake Biosciences.
Yep.
So how do they get in touch with you?
We've got a website, info@aquadocinc.com. 1-800-689-5253 is our 800 number.
Hit that number one more time.
1-800-689-5253 or info@aquadocinc.com.
Holy cow! This hour flew by. I knew it would.
Yeah, look.
How much fun has this been, guys?
is
Look at
fun.
the studio audience up there, all
is
smiling
fun.
at us. I love that. Have to do it again. Daniel Powell, great show, Bob. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow and catch some giants. be sure to post some pics. We will post some pics.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There'll
it.
be pics.
All right. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next Wednesday from somewhere. I don't know where, but I will let you know. We might be on the road like we are today. Who knows? Having a great time. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out, pondboss.com. Also, Pond Boss Facebook page. A whole lot of free articles. And I am for hire. He's for hire. We will help you go do what you need to do. Adios till next week.